hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to see this.
Let's start with children, acid rain. When water precipitates down in the form of rain, snow, etc. and carries a large amount of acid with it, it is termed to be acid rain. Precipitates means it started falling down. When rain occurs, children, so along with that rain, when it carries a lot of acid, which is made due to the various impurities that are present in the air. These gases, when they mix with water, they form the acid. And this acid, when falls down along with the rainwater, it is known as acid rain. Burning of carbonaceous fuels. Carbonaceous means those that contain carbon in them. They release carbon dioxide gas. Now, when any kind of a fuel is burning in the presence of oxygen, children, every time carbon dioxide gas is given out. This carbon dioxide, when it will dissolve with the rainwater, right? When it will dissolve with the rainwater, children, it will form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is H2CO3. Remember, children, when any kind of a non-metallic oxide means when non-metal combines with oxygen, it forms a non-metallic oxide. When they will mix with water, every time they will give rise to a acid, which then falls down with the rainwater. See, the reaction is given over here. CO2 plus H2O will give you H2CO3. This is carbonic acid, children. Further, gases like sulfur dioxide, that is SO2, and nitrogen dioxide are released from the factories. Now, when these gases, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, will mix with the rainwater, again a non-metallic oxide, sulfur is non-metal, combines with oxygen, forms non-metallic oxide, will combine with water, they will form an acid, right? Similarly, nitrogen dioxide combines with water and oxygen, forms an acid. So every time these gases, because these are present as the air pollutants in the air, so when they will mix with the water, they will give rise to acid. And when this acid, children, falls with the rain, then it is known as acid rain. This acid rain can corrode building. That means they can damage the buildings. They can damage the monuments, especially the monuments that are made up of limestone. Limestone is calcium carbonate. So if the building is made up of calcium carbonate, then it gets corroded due to the action of acid rain. And marble. Acid rain also damages the plants and increases the acidity of the soil. Now, this acid rain not only can damage the building, children, but if it mixes with the rivers, with the ponds, with the lakes, then it increases the acidity of the water there, which is a threat to the aquatic life of that water body. Then it can also damage the plants when it is falling on the bodies of the plant. So that means on the whole, rainwater is quite dangerous for everything that is present on our earth. Now in your books, children, this is a picture of a Taj Mahal given. See how it is looking. It is looking absolutely yellowish in color. And why is it looking yellowish in color? It is made up of marble and it is absolutely white and it is very beautiful. But now it is turning yellow. And why is it turning yellow? Because of the acid rain. And see, the reaction is also given over here in your books, how the reaction is taking place and what is being formed, which is converting this marble into the yellow color. So this is the effect of acid rain. Next, let's see what are the different methods to control the air pollution. That means how can we control this air pollution? Some of the methods to reduce air pollution are: first, use a smokeless fuel and improve the supply of air for burning of fuel. Now, whenever the fuels are getting ample supply of air, that means they are getting enough oxygen, children, they will convert into carbon dioxide. And if they are being burnt in the limited supply of air, they will form carbon monoxide. So see that they get a lot of air, and we should use a smokeless fuel that will not produce any kind of smoke. Burn less fuels, fossil fuels. Now what are fossil fuels, children? Fossil fuels are the fuels that we take out from below the surface of the earth. By improving the insulation in our building, right? by making the vehicles more efficient. If we make more efficient vehicles and if we use a proper insulation in our building, then by burning less fuels, we can reduce the air pollution. For making the vehicles that will burn the fuel efficiently, we need to fit a catalytic converter. Now, this catalytic converter will convert the harmful gases into the gases that are not harmful for the environment. Burn less coal and oil if possible. Try to burn less coal and oil. We can use and we can switch over to other sources of energy that are there, that do not release any kind of things that can dirty our atmosphere by causing a lot of air pollution. Remove sulfur dioxide from the waste gases. Now, sulfur dioxide, right now you have seen the reaction, children. When sulfur dioxide, that is SO2, will add with water, it will react with water, it will form sulfurous acid, that was H2SO3. So try to remove sulfur dioxide. Adjust the engine so that the nitrogen oxides do not form. Now, nitrogen dioxides were NO2. Now, if nitrogen dioxides are being formed, then again they mix with the water in the air and they form again the acids, that is HNO3. So, we should try to see that our engines, our vehicles are not producing these gases, neither sulfur dioxide nor nitrogen oxides. Reduce the use of chlorofluorocarbon by substituting with other substances. Now, CFC, in the beginning, in the previous video you have seen how dangerous are the CFCs for our environment, because they cause the thinning of the ozone layer. So, we should try to use some alternative methods by substituting this production of chlorofluorocarbons. Now, next in your books are given, children, some constituents of the air and what is their importance for us. So, let's see quickly what are the various constituents and how they are important to us. Nitrogen, it helps in making of the plant proteins and the animal proteins. So, it is the main ingredient over there, or the main constituent. Second, it dilutes the effect of oxygen in the air, and then it helps in slowing down the rate of combustion and respiration. Now, you know, children, oxygen is a supporter of combustion and nitrogen will not support burning. So, if nitrogen is there in our environment, then what happens? It will dilute the effect of oxygen, and things that are burning will stop burning when the supply of oxygen finishes and nitrogen takes over. It gives extremely low temperature, and hence it is used in hospitals to preserve the body parts, because it can give a very low temperature. So it is used in the hospitals for preserving the bodies and the body parts. Oxygen, it helps in respiration, you know, it helps in combustion, that is the burning of the fuels. Carbon dioxide is helping in photosynthesis process. Water vapor helps to provide the moisture for the plant and the animal growth. You know that water vapor is important in the air for the growth of the plants as well as for the existence of animals. It plays an important role in the water cycle. It helps in preventing desiccation. Helium is used in weather forecasting balloons, because earlier hydrogen was used, because hydrogen catches fire. It's a combustible gas, so helium has been replaced with it. Argon and xenon are used in the electric lamps. Radon is used in the treatment of cancer. Dust particles, they help in the condensation of the water vapor and in the formation of the clouds. You know, children, the water vapor that condenses around the dust particles only in the air, and these water droplets that are condensing in the air, they together stick and help in the formation of the clouds. Next, we see, children, in your books it is given the cycles, how the nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide is being added to the air and how it is being removed from the air. Though we are using these gases so much, but still the amount of these gases from the air is not depleting. So there has to be some process which is adding it to the air. So let's see how they are being added to the air and how they are being removed from the air. We start with first one, that is nitrogen. How is it added? The soil bacteria decompose the organic nitrogen compounds into nitrogen. Decompose means in Hindi sadana. Yeah, or in English you can say it as breakdown. So these soil bacteria, children, they break down the organic nitrogen compound. Organic compound means the compounds that are obtained from the living organism into nitrogen. The decomposition of certain chemical compounds release nitrogen. Now when these organic compounds are breaking down, they start releasing nitrogen. Formation of nitrogenous compound binds the nitrogen. So when the nitrogen compounds are being formed, they help to bind the nitrogen. Binding means to fix the nitrogen or to combine the nitrogen. How is it being removed from the air? Let's see that. Leguminous plants take nitrogen. Leguminous plants are one group of the plants. They take the nitrogen and convert it into the plant protein. So they take the nitrogen from the environment, even from the soil, and they convert them into plant proteins. Nitrogen forms the nitric oxide during thunderstorm and lightning. Now when the thunderstorm and the lightning is taking place, so the nitrogen of the air, it forms the nitric oxide. So this is how it is being removed from the air. We come to the next one, children. Oxygen. How is it being added to the air? Plants release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. We know, children, plants are continuously taking in carbon dioxide and they were giving out oxygen by the process of photosynthesis. So this is how oxygen is being added to the air. And how is it being removed, children? You know, all living organisms, whether it is human beings, animals, and even plants, children, they use oxygen for the process of respiration, right? Now, how is this oxygen removed from the air? All the things need oxygen for burning. Anything that is burning will use oxygen. Oxides are formed with the help of oxygen. Any kind of an oxide, whether it is a metallic oxide or a non-metallic oxide, it will be formed along with oxygen, like SO2, CO2. So all these are formed with the help of oxygen. The last one, we come to carbon dioxide. How is carbon dioxide added to the air and how is it being removed from the air? Carbon dioxide is released when the fuels are burnt. When anything is burning, children, carbon dioxide and water will be released. It is also released when the living organisms are respiring. Whenever we are respiring, then even we are releasing carbon dioxide. That means when you are breathing out, we are releasing carbon dioxide. Even the fermentation process, when something is getting fermented, that is also releasing carbon dioxide. And how is it being removed from the air? That means how is it being taken away from the air? It is taken away by the plants for the process of photosynthesis. You know, plants require carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. Another method is formation of the carbonates, bicarbonates. It also uses carbon dioxide. Setting of the mortar also uses carbon dioxide. So with this, we come to an end of this lesson of air and its constituents.
I hope, children, after seeing the entire video and after listening to me very carefully, you have understood each and everything that I have tried to explain you. Now, if you have really understood the lesson well, don't forget to please subscribe, like, and do share my videos with many of your friends so that they also are being helped by me, that is Mrs. D. Nandan. So, thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.